Horsepower in my darkest hour. Horsepower in my darkest hour. This my iron shoe, the God 72. I had to keep it G, I knew it'd be long overdue. The lone wolf, no crew. Some take notes on how I move, cause I'd rather extract the soul than be the bastard that lose. I give no answers and clues. The masters improved. I keep the shine on my tools. The heated 9 on you fools. So your beef finds its time in stools. The crimes I choose keeps me paid, not slayed. That's why I'm chopping on blades. A jack of all trades. Never spending days in a cage popping champagne. Only made man that's custom made. Some afraid when I came to the game. No emotions didn't play, now they got something to say. For today and tomorrow, with the sorrow we laugh. And I got too much smash to borrow anyone's cash. A survivor at last and never begging. We picked the locks on the gates to get inside of heaven. Got pride with weapons, paid my bills and left them guessing. Now the feds is asking questions. Never let them see you sweating, bring infection to your connections. The rope becomes your blessing. You niggas hang out so you won't feel no stressing. See the parallels of hell as we hear church bells. No, we're never compelled. Take the oath and won't rot in jail. You niggas is obviously fairy tale. Put your face on a t-shirt and now we got souls for sale. Oh well, never tell is the motto. Life is hard as we chug on the whiskey bottle. Make your bank account look like you hit the lotto. And when I'm on the streets, only goddesses follow. Horsepower in my darkest hour. Horsepower in my darkest hour. There's rules on the street of blood pools for your feet. Gotta protect your jewelry, the rules are nothing new to me. Better keep the toolery for a nigga's foolery. It's cool to see niggas on the come up nowadays. Niggas run up cause they seen my face on the internet. I've been a vet in this game. Every year a different gear as I'm switching my lanes. Better look out for the native with immaculate aim. You watch and I create, my nigga, we not the same. So looky here and be game. Please refrain from acting like we homies. This is a mirror to Scarface. Yes, this solo Tony. Unless it's dollars, I will not be conversation holding. As I'm not the one for loading. Sign some signatures and keep on rolling. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet, nigga. They say where'd he go? That Red Bull got rings. I got some homies coming to town, so I pull me some strings. Got a host with the shine on my rims and on my rings. 15s in the trunk, make the hummingbird sing for the illustrious king. Fly my hoes in and out, I don't fuck with no fling. Barely show my face cause niggas already know what I bring. Best way to be the case is to make them all dream. With an extra magazine, they act like I'm the police. They scatter like fiends. Sometimes you not invited cause your shit be too clean. Subconsciously, everybody gonna wanna compete. That's from the closest homie you know to strangers on the street. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet, nigga.
What's going on? What's going on with the people? What's going on with the people? We have subjects to discuss, my nigga. Well, things I have to present, you know. Anybody got any comments they want, you know, expounded upon? Go ahead and put it in the comment section. I'll put it up on the screen, you know, we'll talk about it. But today, I thought it was important for me to go ahead and bring this subject to the forefront. My homie, I was on the phone with one of my homies and the librarian, He said, man, we need to get down to the nit grit. We need to understand the history of immigration so we can see what's going to happen with the results. Okay. And I said, this is wise. This is important. This is a little bit in my area. There was a lot of immigration going on in the medieval times, but that is a small space in comparison to the multitude of different civilizations that we've had on this earth, and the multitude of different cases of immigration that has occurred, and what the results were, and usually how new lands or new civilizations are started. It has a lot to do with immigration. So I said, hey, I'll take it up. I like this, a history on immigration. We'll brief it. We're not going to get super detailed, but we will brief the subject for right now. Um, because, like I stated earlier, when you get too super detailed into one scenario with all the technicalities, you get lost and then you don't see the big picture. But you may become an expert or a specialist in that one little area that you got lost in. And we do need that. We do need specialists of, smaller groups, but then we have to have the big brains that are responsible for governmental thinking and be able to look at things from a wide scope. So that's what we're going to do today. Ancient Egypt had immigration. The Hyksos were brought in as mercenaries, and they actually took over the civilization. One, two dynasties, that's all it took. And they took over, um, we have immigration in different areas, especially when it comes to what was going on with Rome specifically. And it wasn't necessarily immigration on the styles of well, there were small cases of immigration and foreigners living inside Rome. But what happened with the Romans is that they took over a lot of the Gauls and a lot of Visigoths and a lot of the neighboring tribes that were around them, and enforced them into slavery, and also enforced them to be citizens and to take on the culture of the Romans, which is what we call assimilation. And we're definitely not looking at a picture where people want to assimilate here in America. We're looking at a high level of jealousy, and we're looking at a high level of revenge. And we're also looking at potential war. This could be a civil war, internal war, so on and so forth. And what we have to understand, for those who don't read books and for those who aren't historically literate, is that, you know, situations can occur overnight. Overnight, laws can be erased. Overnight, constitutions can be burned. Declaration of Independences can be burned. Factories and businesses can be shut down overnight. You have to understand that. And the reason why is because we've had several generations in America where people have grown into this space of comfort, this space of dependence, and this mind frame of, oh, it's not going to happen to me. It can't happen to me because of your dimension, and the power that you think your mental has over your dimension, and that you can impose violence, or you can impose bravado-ness that will put a person in fear, and your dimension will stay as it is. Well, how about the Native American dimension? There was over 100 million of them. Where are they at now? They had a very strong dimension. And when those conquistadors showed up on the coast with those boats, your dimension was split in two, and you didn't even know it yet, because you did not understand the culture of the individuals that arrived, where they came from, and why they were on the ocean seeking other lands. Okay. And this is the scope of what we're looking at today. Are we looking at a karma? Are we looking at what goes around comes around? It's tough to say. Okay, the numbers don't really match in, nor does the violence. Um, and as I stated, Americans are extremely comfortable, and they're not, you know, prepared psychologically, biologically, physically. They're not prepared for the possibilities of what could occur. Now, I'm not here to be the burden of bad news. I'm not a fear monger. That's not none of this. Once again, this is social mathematics. This is social science. We look at things that have happened in the past and we compare it with our modern day situation, and we see if the conclusions that happened in the past will occur today, and we have to be prepared for that because the situation is ugly. It's far more uglier than what you want to take in, and a lot of people don't want to look. A lot of people don't want to research. The average mind, the average human is only going to deal with what they see right in front of them. They're not going to have a governmental thinking space. Some children are raised to think like that. I was a certain amount, a certain type of literature intake will definitely make you think in that space. But the majority of people don't. They only deal with what's right in front of them and the people that they know, and they don't look at the larger picture of things, right? So let's go into it. I think if we're going to talk about our modern day situation, the first space we need to look at with comparison of today is going to be when Europe came to America, right? And they did it underneath the guise of the word of globalization. They thought it was important for their religion to take over the entire world, which is also quote unquote Islamic mentality. Now, Islam has been classified as a war cult, and that's what they do. They dominate. They migrate to your area, and they enforce Allah with soft words and soft actions and soft prayer. And then if you don't take on, your women being wrapped around in hijabs and hijabs and whatnot, then we're going to go to war with you. And this has been your historical record. So through repetition, you have been classified as a war cult, and we can also do this with Christianity because of the Crusades and whatnot. And is going to get more um who's more fierce is going to be the ones who conquer and get, you know, more adherence to their system and the way of thought. And when we look at the details of what Christianity did, is not only did they take over and wipe out a whole generation, but they raped and killed the children and separated the children from their cultural understanding and enforced their children into their cultural understanding, while at the same time degrading their parents and their grandparents as losers and psychologically separating them from their culture. That is what did occur. Okay. And this happened several generations ago. And, Europeans thought they had the game, you know, they had the game in position and lock. And they sort of did have it on lock because the details of what happened was locked up in libraries. And because the natives weren't reliant upon written word and spoke and reading books, and we saw that Europeans were, and the level of the savagery that they could commit, it sort of made intelligence or reading and writing unattractive. So you got a good space in between the 1800s and the 1900s of, the native is not going into your literature and your philosophy of thought because they despised the activities that Europeans committed upon them, and they also did not want to emulate the activities. They looked at you as completely savage. So what happened is that this internet came on, and when the internet came on, all the files started to be released. Okay. And it woke a mass amount of people up. It brought conviction to your activities from 100, 200, 300 years ago. And what's really interesting is this right here, the kicked out of heaven, is because I asked myself, these activities that you committed on all the peoples of the world, where did the intellect for these activities come from? And that's where I give my psychoanalytical review on what you were doing inside Europe before you even left. And then when we see that you were committing these acts amongst your own, now we have more questions to ask. We have a different we have new data, okay, about how you treated each other. And it's phenomenal, the things that we discovered. You see what I'm saying? So today this video might be a little bit long. We have a lot to go over. And like I stated, we're going to start with, Europeans leaving Europe. Okay. And let's look at some of the numbers, because that in essence is immigration. Okay. And we damn sure know why the immigration occurred is because you were throwing your feces out of your window. You had executioners chopping off heads in the market every day. You have very grotesque activities going on that the rest of the world were not familiar with. The only people that we can say that was close to your activity is the Chinese. They were doing similar actions. But China went through a lot of different areas of science and as well, throughout their 5,000 years of history that they have documented of many different dynasties. So there was a lot of different phases that they went through, obviously. But when it came down to the torture and the executioner and criminals and things of that nature, which is a lot of stuff that we could relate today, hence America has the school shootings, right? And in China, they have what? School stabbings. All right. Almost on a similar scale. There's a little difference to it. But, we have kids shooting up kids over there in China. They have adults going into schools and stabbing up the fucking kindergartners and shit. There's news reports of this shit, and that's another thing. And why I have to do this right now is because our news, as we've witnessed with this whole debate recently, is unreliable. From what I've encountered by studying history, um, Europeans lie, and they lie a lot, and the lying is astronomical. And with being the weasel and the liar, we allowed to attain a lot of finances by trickery, which is the gypsy arts that we definitely find in the medieval times. But when we go down to Greek history, it's a lot of lies. Mythology can also be classified as a lie. Okay, the movies that you watch are lies. Okay, an actor in essence is a professional liar. The scripts are written in a format to twist around time periods, names, and things of that, so it is catered to you as a lie. Your commercials that you see that are decorated in the fashion of perfection towards you is definitely a lie. Okay. So with the capacity, once you truly understand um the capacity of lying and the capabilities of lying with the average human, you lose a lot of respect for the human race. And this is where we have your situations of serial killers and um the hunters of men is what you want to call it. You have a lot of these individuals out here who and go out with your random acts of violence is what they call it as well. It's because they've been lied to, and they've been lied to repetitively. Then it falls into a space of you don't know who to trust, and then you have to organize your social system and how you operate with people, and you can't be your natural self because of the possibility of who you're meeting or who you're bringing into your life is a liar. Okay. And they may lie to you right now again. Okay. So there's a lot of liars. Your Herodotus, the Greek historian, was a liar, in other aspects. You know, Roman history. There's a lot of lies going on. There's a lot of stuff that's hidden too. That's not lies that are hidden, because anything that's hidden is the truth. Always remember that. If somebody's hiding something from you, that it is the truth. But then again, you know, we don't have to really hide too many things, because we can depend on your your search for enjoyment, your search for euphoria. And through your search of enjoyment, you do not deal with the heavy mental thinking that occurs when you're trying to put things together about your environment or about existence overall. So we can depend on you to look for the good times, and you don't go to the museums and see the artifacts that Europeans have of ancient tribes and your history, their history, and all other types of things, because you'd rather go to the basketball court. You don't go to the library, you know. And that's just what the bottom line is. It's a very sad situation, but that's what we're looking at. So let me see what we got here. Let's get to, because I got to do a lot of reading, because we're going to be going through the details today. All right, let's see where we're going to start. Let's start here. We will start with the European immigration to the Americas, which is similar, to what we have today, because a lot of the people that were sent here to America were criminals, but their definition of criminals back then was completely different than what we have of today. But the similarity with the criminals of, yesteryear 1600 Europe, and that's the entire continent, okay, is definitely directly related to the immigrant situation that we have today, with them depending on a quote unquote magic, And the funny thing about this whole magic thing is that if your magic was so strong and powerful, then why do you live in poverty in your original nation? You see? Because, and that's what made me sort of upset about when I read the Real Nigga Etiquette Voodoo edition, and I had to go through, the Loas and the whole system on how they operate. And there was no stories of gold, there was no stories of conquer, there was no stories of conquest like you see in the Greek and Roman mythology. And the reason being, and we can see that by result. So if their mythology system had all these stories of conquering and gold, and we're going to get the diamonds, and I want to be in palaces, look at what they've done. The people that were underneath that mythology system have developed palaces all over the planet. They have developed the yacht for the ocean. Okay, they have developed the gold mines. Okay, so what do you say? Mythology is going to be a mirror of the thought pattern. And from what I've been told, with people that I know who are living in Haiti, specifically the dude who put the video together, my nigga Job, who put the video together for that song "Stay Alive," he said, man, they so poor out there they can't even bury their dead right now. So there's carcasses just rotting in the street. The Dominican Republic has a humongous wall built in between them and Haiti, because you have to understand that Haitians and Dominican Republic are on the same island, and they got a humongous wall built in between them and Haiti, and it basically is just a mental space, and to civilize these individuals into Americanism is not going to be an easy thing. For number one, they have to internally have the desire to assimilate to our system, and they're not going to, because they're jealous of our system, and they don't know how to build or maintain a system like ours, because if they did, guess what, they would have did it in their original lands. So they're coming here for you know they're coming here because they're allowed to come here. For number one, let's put that out. I've read a lot of reports talking about they are now allowing the immigrants to become police officers and they don't even have to be citizens. So you have to understand the language that's been presented to you by Kamala Harris. And we're going to go over some fact checking of what was stated in the debate. She said they're not criminals because they're not classified as criminals regardless of their acts. Okay, and they're not being documented. So due to the fact that they're not documented, guess what? We as Americans can also do what the fuck we want to with them. Okay, so if you drive past the farm and you see 3 4 individuals, pulling the bales of hay while getting whipped on the back, say nothing. They are undocumented. It doesn't matter, right? We can enslave them as American citizens if we want to, because they're undocumented. You have to get the language play that's going on here. So if they're stating that they're not criminals because regardless of whatever crimes they commit, in essence, they are not being classified as criminals, and then they're not citizens. So basically they're ghostless people. And within that space of being ghostless, American citizens can also do whatever the fuck we want to them, you know. And so, prepare yourselves for that. But then also with the comfort and with the propaganda that Americans have of, oh, everything is supposed to be sweet and Barney and fucking Sesame Street and shit. We shouldn't treat them like that. And we don't know who is who. Don't listen to the woman in times of peril. And that's exactly the shit we're facing, because as you've seen on the internet, you don't hear no women out here talking about um talking about they hate men. Oh no, you're not talking that shit now, are you? Because the immigrant gonna climb in your window and have at it, my friend. Okay, and these are individuals who come from from mental institutions and from penitentiaries in their land where they could commit way more heinous crimes than what um we do here in America. Okay, so you're at a comfort position. You see what I'm saying? And that comfort position can fuck around and be your demise. All right, so please know that it's not a joke. It's not a game. Partying right now should not be somebody's strong suit. Um, there's preparation to be to definitely consider, and to put in place, because like I stated, in several locations across the country, they're allowed to become police officers. Is this making sense to you? So that means that the government is specifically turning their backs on the American citizens, and we are on our own. That is what's occurring. American citizens are on their own. Okay. um and we need to start responding to that status of being on our own. And there are many things that the American people would agree upon, and I think the first one would be, nigga, well, we ain't paying no rents in this motherfucker. Okay, because the same money that we're giving you through rent, through mortgage, through banking, or whatever system you operate by, you're giving to these fucks. And we're gonna go over it. So let's do that. Let's go over it. We gotta go over it, because this shit here is this is madness. And I can feel the energy changing in the air. I'm very well connected to, I've stuffed too much history underneath my name for me not to be connected to the soul of humans and not to be connected to this planet and what's going on. And that's really an energy I had to muster and figure out what was going on with my own dimension after I published a lot of these books. So here we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Sure. We have to. You understand? So I need y'all in the comments ranting and raving right now. We're gonna go over the comments as well, okay, about what's happening here, because I'm gonna be showing you a lot of videos as well. So let's do this. Okay, let me see here. Do you see it on the screen? European immigration to the Americas. Let's talk about it. Can we? We have to go through history here. European immigration to the Americas was one of the largest migratory movements in human history. Can we please do that? Let's do that again. Let's start from the top. European immigration to the Americas was one of the largest migratory movements in human history. Between the years of 1492 and 1930, more than 60 million Europeans immigrated to the American continent. Between 1492 and 1820, approximately 2.6 million Europeans immigrated to the Americas, of whom just under 50% were British, 40% were Spanish or Portuguese, 6% were Swiss or German, and 5% were French. And we got to say this for the Swiss real quick. They've already released a plan where they said they will pay the immigrants to get the fuck out of here. We do not want your degenerate shit. And if you deny payment, and the payment is at 34,000 US dollars, is what's crazy. So they're giving them big checks to get the fuck on because we don't want you fucking shitting on our beach. You nasty motherfucker. Okay. And so that is a way to go about it, because this is a bottom line move. It's a chess move. So if they don't take on it, that means you must want war. Your intent is to destroy us. We don't give a fuck. Go back to your home that you brag about so much. Don't come over here complaining with your dumb shit. Okay. Let me see here. Between 1850 and 1930, 60 million Europeans immigrated, of which 71% went to North America, 21% to Latin America, and 7% to Australia. Okay, so they infected the other continents of the world. This mass immigration had as a backdrop economic and social problems in the old world, what I represent, the old world, allied to structural changes that facilitated the migratory movement between the two continents. British people and Liberians continued to immigrate, but influxes from other parts of Europe, particularly Germany, Italy, Ireland, Austria, Hungary, the Russian Empire, and the Scandinavian countries also became numerous. Okay, so between 1492 and 1640, do you see what we have here? Okay, on the map. Okay, let's blow this up a little bit if we can. Okay, let's blow it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we're going to read a little bit of each one of these here. Between 1492 and 1640, approximately 446,000 Europeans immigrated to the Americas. At that stage, immigration was dominated by Portuguese and Spaniards, who accounted for 87% of the settlers who left Europe. In the late 15th and early 16th centuries, the decision by Spanish and Portuguese monarchs to take possession of the New World and establish crown-governed colonies required the transfer of large numbers of colonists. Okay, now this is the interesting part. Okay, the New World and established crown-governed colonies required the transfer of large numbers of colonists. Who educated them as colonists before they left Europe? So that means there was a clear intent for globalization because of the intellect that they had in order to maintain plantations and conduct slaves. Okay. Plundering of Native American societies and the Spanish discoveries of silver mines in Potosi and Upper Peru and Zacatecas in Mexico in the 1540s provided a significant stimulus to immigration. In the long run, however, the most important development that encouraged large-scale immigration of settlers from Europe was the production of consumer goods in high demand in Europe, most notably sugar and, to a lesser extent, tobacco. Sugar and tobacco. But they're still balling off of today and have us all addicted to in several different ways. Okay. Let's see here. They're talking about how the islands were populated here. Okay. I don't need to go over that. Let me see here. Now look at this. European immigration to the Americas. This is how many people. You see this? Roundabout. 1.2 million people in. Okay. 1.3. Okay. During in the second phase, 1640 to 1760, European immigration to the Americas tripled and British immigration surpassed the Spanish and Portuguese one. During this period, close to 1.3 million colonists left Europe for the New World. Why are they calling them colonists? They were already educated to do so. Okay. Most of the 350,000 English immigrants who crossed the Atlantic during the 17th century went to the West Indies and to the Chesapeake colonies in the southern United States. Only about 23,000 went to the North American central colonies and 21,000 to New England. You see this? Now let's talk about, okay, let me see what we got here. More than 65% of the 600,000 Britons who immigrated to the Americas before 1780 arrived as forced laborers, and over 60,000 were condemned prisoners. In the Antilles, the French authorities had to appeal to volunteers and prisoners to maintain a European presence in their colonies to obviously dominate, even though they were outnumbered by the locals. But the locals were not out savaged versus the Europeans. The Europeans can sleep with carcasses and live in shit and not take baths for years. And no other people on the planet have a documentation of living in said format. So they understand the sickness and a savagery that they can live within that definitely depletes and other people. Other people can't handle it. Let me see here. Between 1760 and 1820, 870,000 up in here. Okay. Let me see here. Let's get down to the nitty grit. Besides these 13 colonies and all your nonsense, you see this? You see this? In between 1820 and 1978, do you see the numbers of arrivals from each country? So when we look at it like this and we see, nothing but Europeans, white folk talking to you on your news channels, they're the ones, sitting up there in the high chairs on your TV shows, especially the TV show. What's that one TV show? The entrepreneurs and shit, the billionaires, the Mark Cuban, the Kevin O'Leary's, it's all European, the Elon Musk and all of this shit, the Jeff Bezos, and it's all white boys, you understand? Okay. That have these backgrounds. Okay. They started the game very early. Okay. And they maintain that same system until today. That's why, the rest of the world is mad at looking at them balling the way they've been balling. Okay. There were several factors that led to massive European migration between 1820 and 1930. Technological advances in the 19th century made travel between Europe and the Americas much faster and safer. The modernization of the set of rules and principles that govern the stock exchange and the banks facilitated the investment of capital in other parts of the world. Do you see this? When the majority of us did nothing about no stock exchange and no banks in no 1800s, okay? The internationalization of the market favored the arrival of products from the New World, mainly cereals at very competitive prices. This caused losses in the European agriculture sector, which at times led to crisis, causing the population to emigrate. Okay. Furthermore, in the 19th century, there was an enormous population growth in the European continent, together with the progressive drop in mortality. With the progressive drop in mortality. So what they just told you right there is that, the change of foods and the change of the environment, getting the criminals out here, and then new technologies being introduced, definitely made the environment a lot more clean, which expanded the life expectancy, because everything before the 1800s, the life expectancy in Europe was 25 to 30. That's both male and female. Okay, so let's keep it going. For example, in the 1840s, about 1 million Irish starved to death due to the combination of agricultural plague and economic disaster, and about 2 million immigrated to survive between 1845 and 1855. And this is also when a lot of industries started to be developed. Okay, so one thing about the Irish is that they control the police, the departments. That's where their system is at. Is in the control of police departments, specifically in the northeast part of the country. I can't necessarily say that for like the New Orleans police, which definitely operates underneath, their police system operates underneath some combination with the Ottoman and the French, because their symbol is the Ottoman symbol. Okay, so let's keep it going. There's what an Italian immigrant photographed in 1906 looked like. Okay, that is, she does not look like a healthy girl. Okay, European immigration to Latin America. Look at this: Italy, Spain, Portugal, Germany. As we see, we have the Venezuela And Venezuela is an Italian word. That's Venice, Italy. You see that right there? So the mass numbers took over. Okay, and they brought their culture and they enforced assimilation amongst the natives. Okay, let me see what we have here. All right. Okay. European immigration to the Americas changed the continent's historical course. The Native American population was heavily affected, being isolated in the Americas for a millennia. Amerindians lacked biological immunity to old world diseases, resulting in a demographic catastrophe unparalleled in history, with the possible exception of the medieval Black Death and the Spanish flu of 1918. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas is considered a turning point in human history, marking the beginning of globalization and characterized by demographic, commercial, economic, social, and political changes. So, the beginning of globalization, as I stated earlier, this is globalization. Now, supposedly there's supposed to be a browning of the planet that's occurring, and we're all supposed to sing, hold hands, and sing together in harmony, which may take some time to do. Okay. Let me see here. So we're done with that one. Let's look at the penal colonies because this is exactly where they were sent. Okay. A penal colony or exile colony is a settlement used to exile prisoners and separate them from the general population by placing them in a remote location, often in island or distant colonial territory. Although the term can be used to refer to a correctional facility located in a remote location, it is more commonly used to refer to communities of prisoners overseen by wardens or governors having absolute authority. Let's see what we got here. The British Empire. Okay. It is estimated that between 1718 and 1776, about 30,000 convicts were transported to at least 9 of the continental colonies, whereas between 1700 and 1775, about 250 to 300,000 white immigrants came to the mainland of North America as a whole. More than 2/3 of these were felons. Were transported to the Chesapeake to work for Southern landowners in Maryland during the 30 years. Before 1776, convicts composed more than 1/4 of all immigrants. However, it is commonly maintained that the vast majority of felons taken to America were political criminals. That's what they try to do to sugarcoat history. They were not all political criminals. The majority of the criminals in old Europe were being handled by the brother Franz Schmidt and being decapitated in the middle of the. But then at the same time, they utilized the same system that you see today. They sit you up in a jail for 10, 15 years before they bring you to the scaffold and go ahead and decapitate you. Okay. So you have to understand that, that everybody wasn't just, oh, we caught you with a crime, we're going to take you to the scaffold. Nah, the crime would have to go through the same processing that you see today. They would have to go in front of the king's court and be convicted of the crime. Evidence had to be shown to the king, and or sometimes the judge magistrate over that specific province and area, because this is where the term mayor and landlord comes in, because they had jurisdiction rule, and if they could find and it was actually classified as infang thief. So this is the so and sock is what it was called, and this was a law that was put in place where if landlords or mayors found criminals, that they can hang them right there on their own gallows that were erected in their location, because sometimes a province could be very far off from the province or the village could be very far off from the headquarters, which was the king's castle and what was going on in the city. Okay, so let's keep it going. Not those guilty of social crimes such as theft, for example. It was noted of Virginia that the crimes of which they were convicted were chiefly political, and the number transported for social crimes was never considerable. That is bullshit. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. and you want to see what was going on with the criminals in old Europe before they came here to America, and what is really loaded up in their blood, and why they stay away from the native and they keep their activities up in the woods, why they go down to Africa and kill the big game, is because they have bloodthirst in their system. And you will see that by the activities of the criminals in old Europe that I've documented. Okay. And even if it's not the criminals, it's also the bloodline of the executioners, because the executioners, they were so ostracized from society sometimes, and later on that changed their social position of admiration by the people in the community, changed over time. But in the beginning stages, they were outcasted. Executioners were always treated nice, of course, because of the fear of death that coded in their aura, but they would also be living on the outside or the outskirts of the community, because they were tainted, is what it was called. Because sometimes even if a criminal killed somebody with a sword or a dagger, they were that dagger would be considered to be tainted, and they wouldn't touch it. They would touch it, like, grab it, something like, like this and shit, and they would use a towel or something to touch it, because they considered it full of taint, and then they would melt it down. Okay, so they didn't hold on to those type of things. There's a spiritual significance that they applied to it. All right, so here it is. The colony of Georgia, by contrast, was planned by James Oglethorpe specifically to take in debtors and other social criminals. Now, when we say social criminals, what do we mean? What we're talking about here is magic being utilized, giving somebody the evil eye, creating a rumor that is not true. There is a lot of them. You know, uh, the false accusations of having magic put on you by somebody else. So you have to understand that a lot of people thought in the realms of magic during these times. So when they're saying social criminals, they're talking about magician criminals. Now, I will not. I'm also going to say that there were political criminals at that time, and there was individuals who wanted to revolt against the king, and this is a software program that is repetitive throughout all of medieval Europe. Okay, and we see it today in America, and this would definitely be stamped out, and the majority of political criminals would be executed quickly and not necessarily sitting in jail. And the reason why, unless they had some form of relation to a duke or to an earl or to somebody who had high level respect in the king's court. If you didn't, if your political, and sometimes they didn't give a fuck about that neither. But if you were a political criminal and were going against the king's order, or if you were going against the pope order, that depends on if that province, that country was underneath the pope's rule as well, they would kill you immediately, because you were an example to be made of, to impose the fear amongst the rest of the people, so we won't have uprisings. Okay, you got to understand shit. Political criminals were never held on to. It's just like what you see today. We don't hear anything about what's his name that just died, Matumbu Shakur. We don't hear nothing about who's the other one in Cuba, the female, I forgot her name, but she's also of the Shakur family and whatnot, and she was a Black Panther. We don't hear anything about those political criminals. You don't hear nothing about your Che Guevara's or none of that. The reason being is because we don't want you to get any fancy ideas. So they would be slaughtered immediately. Okay. So let's put it down. Oglethorpe referred to them as the worthy poor in a philanthropic effort to create a rehabilitative colony where prisoners could earn a second chance at life, learning trades and working off their debts. The success of Oglethorpe's vision is debated. Okay. And they got down in Georgia. There was a lot of hangings, a lot of lynching, a lot of disemboweling, a lot of amputation and decapitation was going on during the course of the African American slave trade. And you best believe it was the children, right? This is in 1776. So it's the children of these same convicts or the great grandchildren and themselves that was carrying out these acts. Let's remember that. Okay. So these are all, criminals that were being sent to the locations on the planet from Europe. All right. And this is similar to what we see today with Venezuela and these other nations dumping out their criminals to come to America. All right. And what occurred for the span of 100 to 200 years after those criminals arrived here in America? Slaughter and war. There was a lot of war. There was a lot of blood. And there's a potentiality for the same situation to occur today by invoking the jealousy of American citizens by taking our money and giving it to these fucks. And they don't even speak English. And I'm not going to get pulled over by no motherfucking immigrant and try to write me a ticket on shit. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Okay. France sent criminals to tropical penal colonies, including Louisiana in the early 18th century. Devil's Island in French Guyana, 1852 to 1939, received forgers and other criminals. New Caledonia and its pines in Melanesia in the South Sea received transported dissidents like the communards and the cables rebels, as well as convicted criminals between the 1860s and 1897. Now, who are the communards? Let's see here. Communards were members and supporters of the short-lived 1871 Paris Commune, formed in the wake of the French defeat in the Franco-Prussian War. Who's the Cables rebels? The Algerians of the Pacific were a group of Algerian men deported by French authorities to labor camps on the island of New Caledonia after taking part in the 1871-1872 Macaroni Revolt against colonial rule. Now, this is important, because when we say political groups, now we're confusing the line in between outlaws, banditos, and gangsters and the political groups, the political revolutionaries. Okay. There's a very thin line here. And this thin line was obviously created eons ago, because the political revolutionaries are going against the throne, and the throne is going to call them banditos because they're against the throne's order. So because you're classified as gangsters, we can also propagandize the society to make you look as if you are a reject amongst society. And then you're going to try to propagandize the society to join your group to go against the throne. And if you go against the throne, guess what's going to happen? Cannons and heads are lopped off. Okay. And obviously, that's what's occurring right now. We have individuals being brought here who's being financed and who is also being propagandized to go against the American rule. And then not only that, to go against the American citizens. Not only that, they're pumped up with all types of revenge space. And revenge is what? Connected to hatred. Okay. See, hatred and anger is a very hard, heavy energy to maintain. And that's why I don't maintain it. But that's also why I stay the fuck away from a lot of people, because, people will make you, in essence, angry. What is the point? If you can't fully carry out the anger, real motherfucker want to carry out their anger, they're gonna make your fucking head their goddamn mailbox if you want to be angry, motherfucker. A lot of motherfuckers, they want to claim that they angry and mad. You're not angry and mad. Because when we look through the documents of the old world, we see what real anger will do. Will skin you. We will see what true hatred does. And you don't have the skill, the intellect, or the gall to handle that. If I was to disembowel a motherfucker right in front of you right now, you probably throw up. Your stomach couldn't handle it. You're not designed for that. So your anger is false. You see. And that's why I be laughing at the shit. Because the anger, a lot of motherfuckers anger out here. They want to act like they so mad at this and that. And you ain't finna do shit about it. So if you're not gonna do shit about it, your anger is false. My nigga. You see what I'm saying? That's all there is to it. So let's see here. Didn't I have another one over here? Early mind. Oh yeah, this is important. Let's look at this. So when we talk about migration, this is a natural aspect for humans overall. Okay, because it's called nomadic. Okay, and we're just gonna look at the pictures real quick. I'm not gonna get into reading, but a lot of this stuff comes from what you see right here: Paleolithic migration. Okay, that's what you see right here. So let's go over a little bit. We're gonna go over some pictures. So you see how the motherfucker's moving. Okay, this is a recent advances in archaeogenetics have confirmed that the spread of agriculture from the Middle East to Europe was strongly correlated with the migration of early farmers from Anatolia about 9,000 years ago, and was not just a cultural exchange. Okay, so we what happens is a parasitic type of activity here. The nomad goes to one area, they get condensed, they like this cave or they like these trees, they find some fruits, okay, and then they exhaust everything in that region. They eat up all the fruits. They don't know how to maintain the system or basically colonize the plants and put it in plantation format so we can understand the growth patterns and we can sync that with the seasons and we can stay here for the next 500, 600 years. That's not what humans did. What humans did was they go to one location, say, oh, we like the strawberry, we like the plants right here, we eat this shit. And then after they ate the shit up for maybe about a year, 2 years, they get to walking again. Okay, until they find another location. They find that location and they eat up everything up in that motherfucking location, and paint their face and shit, and dance around with sticks and shit. And then after they get done doing that, they've been here for 2-3 years. We done ate up everything. We done depleted all the animals in this region. We got to go to the next region. Okay, and that's what happens. The scheme of Indo-European migrations from circa 4,000 to 1,000 BC, according to Kurgan hypothesis, the purple area corresponds to the assumed Urhamat, the Samara culture, and the red area corresponds to the area which may have been settled by Indo-European speaking peoples up to 2,500 BC. Okay, so I'm just showing you, humans travel, we run around, we find new things here. We build new things here. We build new pyramids and all this. So we see the same thing happen in the Polynesia, Melanesia, Southeast Asia, Micronesia location with the islands. The people got in a little boat that they created out of a tree log, obviously, because that's what happened. Ancient boats for tribal people were trees that fell down, and then they would gut out the tree. So, and in a format where it turns into a canoe, and it put 5, 6, maybe 10 motherfuckers, because trees were extremely big in the older years than what they are now, and they just float to the next little island. So there's a bunch of little islands right here. There's been a lot of humping, a lot of grinding, a lot of switching up of the cultures, and a lot of merging of cultures all right here. You see Hawaii's right here, but all the other islands is over here, you know what I'm saying? And they say, I think Hawaii is actually a system of, I think, about 100 something different little islands, but a lot of the islands are only big enough to have a home on them, so they don't really classify them. But that is the real scope to it. So this is also the same. The Celtic, excuse me, expansion in Europe, 6th to 3rd century BC. You see that? So they spread out, and this is also the Celtic peoples were devoured and by the Romans. The Romans took them on, and they fought a lot of wars. The different Celtic tribes fought a lot of wars with the Romans, and Romans took over their civilization and made them, um, made them kneel, bend the knee. You must submit to the new order. This is what's going on the map of Phoenician in yellow, which is at the top of Africa here. We have Egypt over here, and this is northern Africa. This is the Mediterranean, and Greek colonies are around 8th to 6th century. Okay, this is the Greek colonies from 8th to 6th century right here. This is the yellow is the Phoenician. Okay, so we see that there's been a lot of traveling going on. Okay, let me see what we got here. Even in the China lands, same shit. Humans moving. Okay, so let me see here. Western Roman Europe. You see the empire. You see this is Carthage where Hannibal was at, and when he went into Rome and went to war with Italy. All of this little island right here is Italy. This is Rome right here. Okay. Visigoths are over here. Like I stated, see, Rome went over there. I told you earlier they fought the Visigoths, and that's what happened right here. And then you got the Vandals, the Huns, and the Goths, the Franks, the Saxons, the Angles. You see the Ostrogoths over here, but it was Rome that took on a lot of these um Germanic tribes, because that's what they are. When we say Germanic, we're also saying Teuton. If we're going to talk about the origin and birth of it all, they're referred to as Teutonic people. That's Teutonic, and we also see the same with the Slavics. Okay, which is this is Western Russia location over here. Okay, and Western Russia is Europe basically, and you have the Mediterranean right here. There's Rome right here, but the Slavics are a little bit off. This right here is Spain, and then you got France right here in the middle. Okay, when it comes to our modern day map, and then the Slavics are over here. Okay, and they also spread out. Okay, spreading out is just a human nature thing, but it's a little bit different today because it has to be supported with finances. Back then in these times, these motherfuckers would be like, well, let's just round up our shit and get to walking. And that's what they did. They rounded up their shit and they get to walking. Now, this is interesting when they say the Romani people. The migration of the Romani people through the Middle East to Europe. Now, when they say Romani people, they're talking about the Gypsies. Their language is called the Romani, even though the Gypsy language has yet to be found as where their origins of that language comes from. We don't know specifically where the Gypsy people come from, but they are classified as swarthy, and they are definitely the origin of what you want to call social criminals in a lot of the European gangs that was operating in the Middle East because of the trickery that they would use. Their whole system is dependent upon begging and magic, and they live in tents and they move by tents. Okay, and they move to hills and parks, and they have grotesque activity compared to what our so-called normalized social activity is. Okay, and their system is based upon thievery, trickery, magic, extortion, and things of that nature. And to be wholeheartedly true, a lot of the development of business and all that came from after these Europeans put a little bit of that gypsy blood into their system, and that's for the effect of magic. Okay, because that's the way the Romani people they move, they stay together. If you were to go to Europe right now and call somebody a gypsy, it's a derogatory term in Europe. And they classified as it's classified as derogatory because, like I stated, these people live in squalor and they're fine with those conditions. So living inside of trailer homes, living inside of tents, staying at a vagabond level and extorting people, creating thievery and robbery and all of these other elements are definitely sourced to the gypsy people, but that does not exclude that same activity was going on in Greece and Rome, because it was. But they're called gypsies also to, as our slang terminology, you got gypped is where you see that from. And also they're called gypsies because there is a potentiality that they come out of Egypt, hence the location in which they stem from, as you see right here. Okay, it comes directly. This is Northern Africa again. This is the Mediterranean Sea right here, and go up. Okay, and then it spread all out through Europe, and motherfuckers didn't know what to do with these motherfuckers. They didn't know how to control them. So the gypsy merging with the Jew definitely was. They had a large communication system going on that was foreign to the average European, and this is where the war begins. Okay, this is where the separation of the social line in between the two. Okay. Expulsions of Jews in Europe. Let's look at this one. Okay. Look at this. So this is where the Jews were kicked out of so many different civilizations. This is in old Europe. Okay. As we see, 1100 to 1600. The expulsion of Jews. They were kicked out of Portugal, Spain, Sardinia, Tunis, Sicily, Naples, Papal States, the province, France, Germany, Austria, Hungary, okay, England, Wales, Lithuania, Crimea, okay, this is the Ottoman Empire, this is Egypt right here. So you see, and then even before this time period, they're documented to be kicked out of Babylon and also ancient Egypt. And this is for reasons of usury. This is also reasons of hygienic purposes, and also because of some of their rituals were, supposedly abducting children and doing a lot of other stuff that we're not going to speak about here. But you can get those facts in the Kicked Out of Heaven series, especially volume 3, where we go into the hatred of the Jews is in volume 3. But you are prepared for that with many mentions in the volume 1 and the volume 2 of what the Jews are in Europe that we do not see today, because we don't know how them niggas is getting down, how they're moving, or none of that shit. And I used to complain about it years ago that I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, where Jews lived or anything of that nature. Now I live in their same community. So, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I take a drive down the street on a Saturday. I see the curls, the big hats, and everything. And it's like, oh, wild shit. But they keep their shit seclusive, and that is also a natural law that we do not adhere to. And that's why America is seeing a very big test right now on the 3-word motto of United We Stand. Okay. And it's going to be difficult to do that standing because you only see hawks with hawks. You only see tigers with tigers. You only see lions with lions, and you only see cheetahs with cheetahs. And, when we look at it from a colorable law level, that means that the Black Americans are supposed to be aligning with the Africans, Jamaicans, the Haitians, and everybody else. And we're not of the same cord. And I don't know where your mental is at. I don't know how you were, raised and trained to look at us African Americans, but we can definitely see through a multitude of different experiences. And I mean, even with the situation that just happened in North Carolina, a young black male, I forgot his name, was a trucker that was hung. Rest in peace to him and condolences to the family and everything. And they just found his body hanging on a tree just the other day. So we don't know who did that. We don't know. I mean, we can point the finger at KKK or Europeans overall. We don't know. But this is what we do know. Somebody is trying to incite, internalized civil war here in this American picture. Okay. And the confusion that is at hand is nobody knows who to point the finger at or what to do. Okay. Because we have mixed with these other races. We have partied with these other races. We have went to church with these other races. And you news is in line for Taco Tuesday and tequila. You see. Now, maybe the Taco Tuesday and the tequila and other elements like the Afro-Caribbean, the Afro beats that they tried to bring in to replace hip-hop was preparation for right now, because these individuals know what they're doing at top. Okay? They know what they're doing. So let's look at this. Map of colonial empires throughout the world in 1754 prior to the 7 Years' War. Look at Spain. Spain took over all of this, right? So where is Spain at? Right here, like I told you. Right here. I think that's right above Liberia right here. I know Nigeria is down here somewhere. I don't know what country is right here at the top. It could be Morocco. I think this small one right here is Morocco. Here we have Spain. This small country took over all of this shit, my friend, and all of the Mexico, my friend, and all the Central America. So all you niggas in the Venezuelan and all of this shit, you're not going to the right area. But see what the lack of intelligence does for you? You see what the lack of due diligence in literature does for you? You think America is the one that fucked you up. No, this little motherfucker over here across the ocean fucked you up. Not us, my nigga. Get your fucking facts together. But they don't give a fuck, right? So let's read this real quick. European colonialism from the 16th to the early 20th centuries led to an imposition of a European colonies in many regions of the world, particularly in the Americas, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Australia, where European languages remain either prevalent or infrequent use as administrative languages. Major human migration before the 18th century was largely state-directed. For instance, Spanish immigration into the New World was limited to settlers from Castile, who were intended to act as soldiers or administrators. Mass migration was not encouraged due to a labor shortage in Europe. Okay. Let me see here. This is crazy shit. Do you see this? Okay. These niggas just came to your land and sat on your shit and did whatever the fuck they want to. Let's look at that again, because this is madness. This is madness. Do you see this small little country right here? Took over all of this shit. All of this shit, man. This little small little country. What does that got to say? And then they don't want to put in the France. France has all of this. Okay, the blue right here. But they don't want to put in these other countries and show where they what they colonized all across the planet, because this map should be updated a little bit. Okay, but even when it says the United Kingdom took over all of this Canadian shit over here in Africa. Come on, man. These small little countries in this little region set up, and took over the whole planet, man. Like, how do you feel about that? How weak? Where does that show you about the weakness and the intelligence of the other people on the planet? What level are we talking about here? What are we truly discussing? What the fuck is going on? How does this small little fucking region right here, small little region, okay, small region right here, take over all this shit on the planet, my dude? What the fuck are you talking about? Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Okay, let me go back to the feed. Yo, does it make any motherfucking sense? Okay. Yeah, let's to the homie. Let's stay on topic. We're staying on topic at all times when you come to the 720 channel, because I talk about different topics on different videos I put up. So let's stay on topic, people. Okay. Yeah. Jew comes from jewelers or jewelry, not Judaism. I don't know about that. Yeah. So yeah, let's keep it going. Well, I mean, there's many different tactics of war, and one thing about it is that Europeans obviously have a lot more trial and error during in the course of war than other people do, and a lot of people psychologically didn't have an intent to kill during the course of war. Like Incas, I think it was, or the Aztecs, they didn't kill in war. They wrestled. They brought their best wrestlers together and made them wrestle, and whoever won, that side won, I guess. Things like that. So just brutality and slaughter and disembowelment and decapitation and all that shit is exclusively something that Europeans depended on and utilized for them to take over. Okay, so let's read some quotes on this immigration before we get to what's going on right now. Okay. Thomas Aquinas, who is also a saint. Okay, let's go over it. He says, if foreigners were allowed to meddle with the affairs of a nation as soon as they arrive, many dangers might occur, since the foreigners not yet having the common good firmly at heart might strive for certain goals in opposition to the people. Exactly. That's exactly what's happening right now. That's exactly what's happening right now. And Thomas Aquinas, let me see here. Let me get a little bit of time. 1225 to 1274. That's when he lived. He lived, and he's making statements like this back then. Let's read it again. If foreigners were allowed to meddle with the affairs of a nation as soon as they arrived, which is what is occurring right now, many dangers might occur, since the foreigners, not yet having the common good firmly at heart, might strive for certain goals in opposition to the people. Exactly. They do not have the common good firmly at heart. That is not their intent. Their intent is to survive on this land and to kick us out of our homes. And that is also the intent of the government, who is giving money to the landlords to make sure that the landlords understand, hey, you can go ahead and get the big money, from us. We'll pay you incentives if you let the immigrants into your home. Okay. So as of right now, if the American people weren't as soft as a tampon, we would already erase all adherence or response to law and order that is imposed by the country. And that means paying bills. That means, going to court for evictions or going to court for divorce court or any other thing. All of those things can plummet overnight, is what you have to understand, because it only takes one city to start blowing up and the shit is going to spread like wildfire across the whole country. Now we have a crazier situation because we have National Guard that'll come in. We have military that'll come in that is supposedly also American. And they're going to defend the immigrants because the Americans are going crazy and we're your uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters, children, and all this other shit. So then it also puts the American soldier into a traitor position. Okay. But what's so cold about the U.S. military, if you get down to the nitty grit, the U.S. military been training other facilities. They do, like foreign exchange student programs with other countries and shit, and be teaching other countries our tactics and shit. So we don't really know if they have a system where they got a whole bunch of soldiers from other countries that we have trained underneath our form of military and put, our camouflage and our badges on these individuals, and they just, haul ass and have fun slaughtering the American people, which is a possibility. Yet we don't know the details about what's going on in the military. We don't know those details. Okay, so here we go. Okay. The economic impact of immigration is a complex issue and one that simple models of supply and demand do not address very well. Exactly. Okay. Simple models of supply and demand. And so simple models of supply and demand. So the food for less. Walmart. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of these individuals, from what I've seen, I've never seen them in Walmart. I've seen a lot of these Hindus in the Walmart, but their whole immigration status is a little bit different. And they come over here with a mentality like they're looking down on motherfuckers too. Okay. So the mentality of despising has been the root mentality to, infiltrate one group, propagandize them to enforce, the removal, attack, and war on another group. Okay. And that is the leeway in is the despising and the disposition. Okay. Which the Hindu people have a very, 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 very strong racist mentality, especially towards us Black Americans. We're like last on their tier for to do any form of marrying or any form of unifying with. They look down upon us as they do their own people in India. Okay, so let's keep that very clear. Now, this is where one area where us as Americans are fucking up. In 2010, more than 40% of Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants and their children. This includes 90 companies founded by immigrants and 114 companies founded by children of immigrants. These companies employ more than 10 million people worldwide. And this is also where we're fucking up as Black males, entering into Hollywood and getting roles as actors, and we didn't go through the bullshit. And that's basically a whole nother line that we're really seeing here, is that the government knows that American people don't want to be involved in your bullshit, and you have a lot of bullshit going. You have a lot of bullshit going. Your scams, your letdowns with the insurance companies, your fucking, your lack of compensation for a multitude of things that have occurred. The equal opportunity. We got to take you motherfuckers to court and sue you for your dumb shit on your jobs. You're trying to enforce us into your social system. Like, yo, just let us do what the fuck we do. Leave us the fuck alone. But that's the law of nature. The law of nature states that nothing has to leave nothing alone. I will bother you all the fuck I want to. And that is truly the rule. I can do whatever the fuck I want to. As long as I have more manpower than you, I can do it. I can do what I want. And unfortunately, African Americans don't have any manpower. Not even in their own gang structures do they have manpower, if you're going to get technical. Okay, let me see here. So this is a Bible verse right here. It says, the foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. Nigga, please. You lost your mind. But this is the new international version. This is not the King James. Okay, so we're going to disregard that one. But what we are going to do is read this one. Nobody ever leaves his homeland for good if he is not to some extent deracine. Okay. It is an idle illusion to think that the most courageous and enterprising Europeans came to America. The truth is that an overwhelming majority of all immigrants who crossed the Atlantic were either a personal failure in Europe and hoped to make riches quickly in the New World, or that they belonged to a political, racial, or religious group which had failed collectively in the struggle for power and survival. It is difficult to imagine somebody leaving his fatherland because he was too happy and too successful. Do you understand that? So nobody is leaving their fatherland, okay, because they're too happy and too successful in that location. You're leaving your fatherland because you smell shit in the air, and there are animals and their fucking organs are hanging out in the middle of the street, and you're not doing anything about it. Nobody else is doing anything about it. You step right over the puddings. You see what I'm saying? And you go get your fucking tortilla to roll some shit up in it. You dig what I'm saying? And that's just bottom line what it is. In reality, a lot of people is going to have to turn on the Alabama racism card, in order to survive whatever the fuck may be coming, because some shit is coming. We have never seen a situation in America where, the government is telling the locals, hey, you can hire undocumented motherfuckers who don't even speak English to enforce the law on our citizens who are paying taxes and have dedicated themselves to America. Okay? Because that's all they know. They have supported it. And this is where another huge problem comes in, is because a lot of people complain. And with those complaints, that means that you're not going to defend your homeland. And if you're not going to defend your homeland, then that means you're a traitor. You understand how that works. So, they say, hey, we look at the YouTube, we look at, the TikTok, we look at the analytics, and you niggas is out here complaining. Okay. So it's a very difficult situation. So let's look at this one. Regarding assimilation. Regarding assimilation theory, assimilation often refers to the tendency for immigrants to adopt the cultural and social values of their host country, particularly as their amount of exposure to the country's social and cultural context increases. The term assimilation has been critiqued in recent years, but the general findings regarding the tendency of immigrants to gradually look more like the native citizens of their host country over time remain. In particular, one persistent finding in criminology is that first-generation immigrants tend to be less crime-prone than their native peers, whereas second and third generation immigrants look more like their native peers in their criminal behaviors. Now, let me stop there, because that's basically what happened in California. The And I've been told this by many different gangsters in LA, that the Mexican gangs hate blacks in LA because the blacks went over there and fucked up the Mexican farmers, who were um the first immigrants, or in the country. And they were farming and doing their own thing, and the niggas in the 70s and 60s would go over there and fuck them up and steal their shit and raid their houses and shit. So then the children that those Mexican families had grew up hating blacks because of this violence that occurred. So now that's where all the Mexican gangs came from, and that's why there's such hardcore racial politics when it comes to the penitentiaries out there in Cali, and when it comes to the street dynamics. And when you detail the street dynamics in LA, it's only Mexican gangs fucking up Mexican gangs, and it's only black gangs fucking up black gangs, and the white motherfuckers stay to themselves, but they'll fuck up anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, but they did unite with the Mexicans to go against the blacks underneath that whole umbrella of the Nazi lowriders and shit is what they call them. So here we go. Okay. Another common finding in the literature is that immigrants brought to the United States as younger children tend to have higher rates of adolescent and adult criminality than those brought as older children. In a criminological context, assimilation theory suggests that as immigrants become more assimilated to the U.S. culture, they adapt to the criminal behaviors of native citizens. Since undocumented immigrants are, by definition, first generation and on average have fewer years of residence in the United States compared to legal immigrants, assimilation theory would predict lower crime rates for undocumented immigrants. Yeah, the fuck right. We about to look at that shit. Yeah, here we go. We have problems with illegal immigration. We have problems of the Caucasus. We have a problem of ethnic crimes. The fact that our authorities hypocritically pretend that such problems do not exist leads to people discussing them only in the street at the Russian March. Okay. Yeah, because the Hindus, they over there shitting in the beach and covering it up over there in on the East Coast. And we about to go through some crimes right now that the immigrants are committing all over the place in America right now. So here we go. Immigrant life in general is miserable, as one sees in the literature produced by those who experience the journey. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, these are quotes stated on immigration here. Okay. I think many times the way people look at immigrants with such a sense of diminishment, as if this person is less than I am because they've left their country. Well, I actually think they're more than we are because they're braver. They've gone some other place. They have to operate in another language. How easy would that be? If I had to go to China today and start living in China and doing everything in Chinese, it would be very, very hard. So you think that the bravery of these people and the desperation with which they're trying to find a realm of safety for their families and just the basic safeties that we take for granted every day we get up. And I don't know how a world with so many resources and so many religious traditions and good hopes, how we can keep doing these things to one another in the world that create refugee populations. It just seems outrageous. Why is that happening so much? But you see, a female said that. You see that? This stupid ass shit. Keep your monkey ass over there. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if I went, which I have been to China, I go to China, survival is going to be very difficult for a lot of reasons. I remember one time I was macking this girl who had broken English in China, and she was telling me on how she had nowhere to go, and it was her living situation was all fucked up because her mom kicked her out because her mom kicked her out because she was moving in a new boyfriend or some shit. And they're very, very violent. They don't give a fuck. You know, you better watch out for people who have that flat skull, nigga, the flat area in the back of the head, nigga. They are extremely violent and they don't have a true social understanding, you know, that involves sympathy and compassion. They do not operate in those formats. They will slaughter your ass. They will slaughter their own family. You know what I'm saying? For their survival, you know, and also progression, which is a lot of that hardness we see on individuals like the Jet Li and you know, the Bruce Lee and those individuals who do the martial arts for our films. Jackie Chan is the other dude, and they went through very hardcore situations, being raised to learn martial arts on the scale of what they have learned. Okay, so let's go over here. Immigration to the United States. We got some quotes on this. Let's read a couple of them before we go into the facts of what the fuck is really going on. You know, let me see here. The American dream that has lured tens of millions of all nations to our shores in the past century has not been a dream of material plenty, though that has doubtlessly counted heavily. It has been a dream of being able to grow to fullest development as a man and woman, unhampered by the barriers which had slowly been erected in the older civilizations, unrepressed by social orders which had developed for the benefit of classes rather than for the simple human being of any and every class. Okay, immigration to the United States. Okay, let's see here. New York, from her particular situation, is perhaps more than any other city in the Union exposed to the evil of thousands of foreign immigrants arriving there. Exactly. Exposed to the evil of thousands of foreign immigrants arriving there. Okay, let's see here. Okay. On Monday evening, President Trump pressed send to on a tweet declaring that in the next week, ICE would begin removing the millions of illegal aliens who are in the United States. This, of course, was not true. ICE deports about 7,000 immigrants per month. That is not enough, which is rather short of the roughly 10.5 million undocumented immigrants currently residing in the United States. The tweet, coming 2 days before Trump's big re-election rally, seemed tailor-made to send Democrats into paroxysms of rage and force us into a law and order debate in which we stand on the side of the lawbreakers. Okay, that is very important. So basically, what American people are truly being told is, hey, you want to be Jason Voorhees? Now is the time. You know, you want to do some Freddy Krueger shit? Now is the time. Go snatch these motherfuckers up. You know, shit. Go get an 18-wheeler, make the goddamn back of the 18-wheeler a fucking torture chamber and ride around the country, nigga. Have fun. You know, what the fuck are we talking about here? You know, the U.S. government first began collecting data on the nativity of the population in the 1850 census. That year were 2.2 million immigrants, representing nearly 10% of the population. Between 1860 and 1910, the immigrant share fluctuated between 13% and almost 15% of the overall population, peaking at 14.8% in 1890, largely due to high levels of immigration from Europe. Restrictive immigration laws in 1921 and 1924, which kept permanent immigration open almost exclusively to Northern and Western Europeans, coupled with the Great Depression and World War II, led to a sharp drop in new arrivals from the Eastern Hemisphere. The foreign-born share steadily declined, hitting a record low of 4.7% in 1970. So basically, it was the Great Depression that stopped the shit. Okay? It was the Great Depression that stopped it because then nobody want to come to a country that is not you know, fat and doing well and providing pleasure and being prosperous. Okay, and nobody wants to go to the depleted country. Like, you don't see no Americans going to no motherfucking Haiti, you know, straight up. This is enslavement here. This is a free space of enslavement. If you want a bed warmer, if you want a foot warmer, now is the time. You know, you call up the maid, and the little maid speak of the guala guala, and she don't understand. Hey, tie her at, do what the fuck you want, right? Because they're doing whatever the fuck they want to us. You see, and that is what the rule is. They are in the position to do whatever the fuck they want to us with our money, with our guns. Okay. So then that means you do the same thing, an eye for an eye, right? That's how it works. Okay. Yeah. Stupid motherfuckers, man. Both presidents, George W. Bush and Barack Obama, sent National Guard troops to the border when they were in the White House. And throughout the history of the borderlands, the military or armed militias have been dispatched there to keep black slaves from fleeing, remove Native Americans from ancestral lands, and suppress Mexican American revolts stemming from anger over white mob violence. Do you see? This is this is the George W. Bush and Barack Obama plan, which is a very difficult one because one is a Republican and the other one is a Democrat. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I don't be giving a fuck about no goddamn voting. Because, nigga, if you think the way these white boys been operating from Greece all the way up to now, that you think they're gonna go ahead and allow the placement of the governing force of the country to be voted in by the mud hutters, by the spear chuckers, you've lost your fucking mind. The motherfuckers ain't gonna give you no room. We'll go ahead and make you think you got room, and that's how you make things. You condition things down. Is you shut things down by making a motherfucker think you got that power. So stand in line. We'll give you, the paper bag lunch. We'll give you a muffin. You come to the line, to vote, and you think you've done something great. Nigga, you have no judgment power. And the reason why you don't have judgment power is because you didn't have sound government founded before we arrived to your location. You see, when we arrived to your location, you didn't have shit organized and in order. You were sloppy. Your languages were sloppy. You had the federation set up with too much of the hierarchy with all of these different groups, and everybody wants to be defiant because back in the nomadic times, if 1, 2, 3 people say, "Hey man, I don't want this nigga to be leader, man. Who died and made this nigga God? Fuck this nigga, man. We gonna go this way." And that's exactly what they do. They go that way. Over time, a couple of words change, a couple of things change within the culture, and now they got their own little system going, but it's still correlated to the original system because the languages are similar, the dress style is similar, the mythology is similar, and all of that other shit is still similar. The way they eat and cook and all of that shit is still similar. You just got defiant in the past and wanted to separate off and do your own shit, but you created confusion within that. When it's too much separating, it's like, the amoebas of the bacteria, they separate, boom, separate, boom, separate. They duplicate themselves. And that's what you've been doing. You did not stay focused, nor did you come into the space of science and industry in order to build, a sound system that is relied upon by invention. And that's where these motherfuckers come in and kick your ass. And if we kick your ass, then you got to submit to what the fuck we say. You understand? And this is the rule of the land. Unfortunately, don't get it confused, my nigga, because guess what? It looks like the old rules from the old world is about to come up and slap a lot of people in the fucking face right now. Especially for all the women out there who was talking about they hate men. We gonna see. Because a lot of these motherfucking immigrants is men, and they gonna be creeping in your goddamn window. They're gonna be chasing you down at the goddamn grocery store and all types of shit. And I'm about to show you the evidence for that right now. So let me see here. Let me read a couple of these statements real quick before we get to moving. Insinuating that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country echoes nativist talking points and has the potential to cause real danger and violence. We have seen this kind of toxic rhetoric inspire real world violence before in places like Pittsburgh and El Paso. It should have no place in our politics, period. And when anyone has a large platform, they need to be careful with their voice. But when you're the former president of the United States, you absolutely need to recognize your responsibility, because the kind of rhetoric is explosive and must end, full stop. It's not the rhetoric, it is the activity that is causing the rhetoric, my friend. What are you talking about? There is activity here that is making people round up, get their arms, scratch their head about what's going on here in this existence of ours, where you're taking our fucking money and giving it to these bums, but everybody else got to fucking work every day. And that is a problem, my dog. How about this? You give them niggas 20,000 a month, but you better give the average American 30-40,000 a month, and we cool. We'll be partying with them niggas in the park. We might even try some of that baked duck they talking about. You know, I don't know about no cat, no dog. We ain't finna do that. But we'll fuck around with the duck, maybe, party. Nigga, check. But you give us the money, like you giving them the money. That's where the part is fucked up. That's where you are inciting great anger, my nigga. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Let's read this. Nearly 70,000 foreigners arrive in the United States every day. Most of these travelers are visitors, not settlers. More than 60,000 are tourists, business people, students, or foreign workers who are welcomed at airports and border crossings. Yeah, or at least that's what their appearance is to you when they're coming across the border. That's not what their intent is. About 2,200 daily arrivals are immigrants or refugees who have been invited to become permanent residents of the United States. Finally, about 5,000 foreigners make unauthorized entries each day. About 4,000 of them are apprehended just after they cross the U.S.-Mexico border, but nearly 1,000 elude detection or slip from legal to illegal status by violating the terms of their visas. Many will remain, while others will return to their home countries. Yeah, right. Because I've seen many reports of motherfuckers who didn't commit heinous crimes. Y'all done caught cartel assassins out here, and they stay right here in America. Okay, we ain't listen to no quotes coming from no Barack Obama. Fuck everything that nigga did. Because what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of this shit that we're fighting with the LGBTQ, that motherfucker signed into the country's operations, okay, and got fucking trainees reading books to your fucking kids at school and shit. That was all underneath Obama and his dumb shit. Let me see here. So yeah, let's go down to the facts. Let me see what the people are talking about. What y'all gotta say over here? Yeah, y'all get up in these comments. So we about to go through the truth now. Y'all ready? This is what's going on right now as we speak. Hold on. Let me see which one is this. Oh. Yeah, let's do some debate fact check real quick.
I intend on extending a tax cut, repealing that tax bill they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
She was big on defund the police.
For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more sick.
Oh, can y'all hear everything? I'm just making sure y'all can hear.
Well, that's wrong.
She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented cross borders criminals. That's correct. Abolish ICE. Yeah, we probably think about starting.
Oh, I need to stop it. So when she say we're going to treat them like criminals, means that it doesn't matter what they do. We're just not going to lock them up. So then they're not classified as criminals. Okay.
She is fighting the worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad.
Bidenomics is working. It's working. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. My agenda includes attempting to get Congress to actually make over the first 100 days of my administration. I'm going to take a second. Well, First of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
You see that? You better watch this shit. You better watch this shit. Okay? These niggas is lying. Okay? Let me see here. She is lying. Okay? Because one thing you got to understand is, let me see here.
Fact-checking the presidential debate, specifically on the issue of unemployment. As always, this is unbiased, just the facts, so you can be as informed as possible. Fact-checking the presidential debate, specifically on the issue of
No, we're not going to do that. So let me see here. She's a liar, my friend. And what we got to understand is that everything that we've been experiencing for the past 3 years is definitely underneath the Democrats system. Okay. So let me see here. The funniest one was about this whole, the moderator is now entering the debate and fact checking down. Let me see here. Now I want to say that real quick. How in the fuck, when he just made that statement, how in the fuck do you go ahead and contact the whoever, the city manager or whatever the fuck, within the span of 2 seconds and get an answer from an individual on that wasn't being stated, and then come back to the mic and say that that wasn't true? Because we're going to disprove it right now. Because it's embarrassing. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and look at it right now. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at the money. This is what the streets look like, B. I don't know how we're gonna allow that type of shit. You know. Migrants get paid on arrival. Look at this shit. Like, are you for real, my dude? What the fuck are we talking about here?
Funded group is offering $13,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
Why would an American citizen apply for a taxpayer-funded program to get $30,000 for a new home? I mean, it's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen. This is state-sponsored discrimination, Stuart. That's what it is. I mean, it's crazy. That's their goal. They want.
You see this shit? Chicago is giving. Look at this.
Welcome back. We are learning much more about the migrant crisis right here in Chicago. I spoke with Christina Pascazayas, the city's first deputy chief of staff. She gave me insight on how the crisis is impacting the city and the state financially. Already this week, 41 buses have rolled into Chicago. There are now 11,000 migrants living in shelters. 4,000 are still sleeping on police station floors and staying at the airport. Now, this is really startling. 30% of migrants here in Chicago are children. The majority of them are attending Chicago public schools. Right now, the state is footing the bill for what they call temporary housing, apartments and homes that are rented out for migrants. The state is paying on the high end $9,000 in rental assistance over a 6-month period of time. Without help moving in and a starter kit to furnish the apartment.
That rent could last for 6 months, and the you would have started their legal process, secured the work authorization, and then be able to sustain that apartment. And so the cost, or I guess the payment towards the landlord, is based on market rates. It's based on the configuration of the apartment, how many rooms, where it's located, all of those things. And so it kind of varies from place to place.
We ran out of time, but I did reach out to the city to see how many asylum seekers are currently taking advantage of the rental assistance program. We haven't heard back from the city on that. The city put $4 million towards helping migrants get temporary housing. They added $38 million to that, and right now there are only 30 to 40 case management workers from Catholic Charities working to get thousands of migrants temporary housing, and I'm told there's a push to hire more staff. Welcome back.
What the fuck are we fucking talking about here, bro? Like, this shit don't even make no goddamn sense, bro. You know, this shit don't make no sense. We got veterans that are homeless and sleeping on the corner. Now, this is crazy. You know.
Earlier today, the California State Senate approving a bill allowing illegal immigrants to apply for the state's first-time homebuyer program, a program that provides buyers with a loan that allows them to purchase a house, no money down loans, no interest loans.
At a time when the median home sale price is almost and when $1,500 a month gets you a 240 square foot apartment in LA, Democrat lawmakers want to give illegal immigrants a chance to get a leg up.
Democratic assemblyman who pitched the bill telling Politico, quote, "We simply want it to be as inclusive," there's that word again, "inclusive as possible within our policies so that all who are paying taxes here in our state were able to qualify." Joining us now, Outkick host and Fox News contributor Tommy Laird. Tommy, just to be clear, this is a loan that can be used for 20% of a home's purchase price, up to $150,000. No money down, zero interest. The more that we keep as a nation, whether it's that loony bin California or anywhere else, giving illegals incentives to come here, you will not be able to build a wall high enough to keep them out.
Well, and again, this is so California, it actually hurts. I've never seen anything more California than this. It's also important to note that this program was actually launched in 2023, California Dream for All program, and it ran out of money in 11 days. So there's really no funding for this program to begin with. But in the name of inclusivity, they want to give it another go, and they want to expand eligibility to people who really have no legal right to be in California. California has also about 11 million non-citizens. So if you thought this program dried up quickly before, wait until you expand eligibility. They already don't have enough affordable housing. They don't have enough infrastructure for the people that they have. And now you want to expand eligibility in a program that already has no money to 11 million plus people in California. The math is not mathing here. It doesn't make sense. But once again, as you mentioned, Dagan, this is just an incentive for more people to come across our border illegally. If you're going to give them health care, you're going to give them down payment assistance. If you're going to give them all of these things, why wouldn't they come? And if you're not giving them this assistance, you're probably going to give them a shelter or a hotel room to live in, especially if you're in a sanctuary city. So there is no reason for illegal immigration to decrease. Democrats in charge.
And the voters keep saying, you know what, take the money that could go to me and give it to the illegals. That feels really good. I don't know why they do it in California, but they do. But I want to move to this because the media likes to call it a candidate that's changing. Well, we call it here fraud.
On the subject of transnational gangs, let's be perfectly clear. The president's medieval vanity project is not going to stop them. Let me be very clear, I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances, and I do support border security, and if we want to talk about that, let's do that. Listen, when I travel this country, folks have plenty enough problems that they need their president to focus on instead of a wall.
The DNC here has got all tough and macho going to sign the bipartisan border bill. That would, whether it knows or not, fund Trump's border wall.
I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border. Last year, Joe and I brought together Democrats and conservative Republicans to write the strongest border bill in decades. Here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law.
First off, that was not a strong border bill, but that aside, you're going to fund a border wall, number one. She wants to frack. She wants to not tax tips. Listen, it looks like she's peeking at Donald Trump's tax and going, I know what he's going to do. I'm going to say the same damn thing. She is a fraud.
Immigration is the number 2 issue for American voters. So it's obvious why she's trying to pivot here. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think she actually knows what's in the bipartisan so-called border bill. Because if she did, I doubt that she would be for spending that unspent money on the construction of the border wall. So that's bad enough that she doesn't even know what's in the bill that she's supposedly advocating for. I think most of that bill is trash. I think it codifies illegal immigration and catch and release, but there are portions of it that Republicans would be in favor of, and unspent funds being spent on the construction of the border wall would be one of those things. I'm not sure Kamala is even aware of what's in that border bill, but she's going to do and say anything she has to get elected. And actually, she's going to say as little as possible to get elected. And then after the fact, I guess we're supposed to just wait and see what she's going to do to this country.
Yeah, this is phenomenal bullshit, man. This shit is phenomenal shit here. Okay, so y'all just saw about what? New York, Oregon, Chicago, the whole state of California. You see what I'm saying? This is crazy shit, you know. Um, and the immigrants, they can get all of that money and work a job. Okay, for real, you know. So they're definitely snatching shit up. B, this shit is crazy. Man, fuck all of this. Let's go. Let me see. Let me see what y'all saying over here. Can y'all hear everything, man? The Oregon trafficking is going to get out of hand. You see this shit? Now watch this. So, okay, let me see here. Let's look at the hate. Let's look at the immigrant crime here. Okay, let's look at some of the crimes that they're conducting. Okay, let's see what we got. Yeah, this is serious shit.
Florida sounding the alarm this morning, reporting a rise in serious crimes being committed by migrants in the U.S. illegally. These three suspects arrested for separate violent crimes in just the past month. News Nation's Jorge Ventura joins us live. Jorge, some say this is highlighting problems with current border policies.
That's right, Nick, especially highlighting disproportionate vetting processes for immigrants into the U.S. A massive backlog of immigration cases. As you mentioned before, authorities in Palm Beach, Florida, reporting at least three serious crimes committed by illegal immigrants in just 1 month, including this. This is Herbert Armando Guerrero from Honduras. He was arrested and charged Friday for reportedly sexually abusing a minor, along with a slew of other violent charges. Authorities revealing that Guerrero was ordered out of the U.S. in 2017, but was never deported. Palm Beach County Sheriff's also arresting this month Josefina Cardona earlier this month for allegedly trying to hire a hitman to murder two witnesses in her son's criminal case. Authorities say that she is in the country illegally and may be deported after her case is over. Authorities also arrested this man in Palm Beach County. This is Marvin Perez Lopez from Guatemala, arrested less than 6 months after crossing into the U.S. illegally. Officials say that Lopez came in January, was released by federal officials with a future court date in 2027, and made his all the way to Florida. Local officials say that he was arrested on May 4th for allegedly kidnapping a child and sexual assault. Florida-based immigration lawyer Rolando Vasquez said that the state is receiving thousands of illegal immigrants who are being properly vetted before being released into the U.S., but also don't have court dates for years to come, just like Lopez.
Okay. Yeah, now let me see what here. Let me see what else we got. 81 animals unalive by immigrants in Northern California. Okay. Uh,
On August 31st, 2024, at approximately 5:30 911 call came from the U.S. 29 FM. The call initially came in as a fire location. Rockaway Police, as well as personnel from the Rockaway Fire Department, St. Paul Fire Department, Point Pleasant Fire Department, were able to respond to the location. The fire inside the structure was quickly addressed and brought under control. While searching the location, several individuals were located inside and found to be deceased. The names of the deceased are Waldo Young, 29.
do you see that? There it goes. What is this?
Before the sun is even up, federal immigration enforcement officers are gearing up for another round of early morning arrests of today's targets.
As close as you get, and then the rest was freaking out.
Convicted on charges spanning from rape to child abuse. The accused non-citizens they're going after,
Only target the worst.
a clear reflection of the high priority Maryland ICE Director Matthew Elliston places on taking sexual
161. I mean, goddamn. What is we talking about? Let me see here. Where's another one?
Good evening to you both, Jim and Angie. What happened right here in this parking lot is extremely tragic. An innocent woman's life was taken. I mean, she was a mother and a grandmother, and it turns out that the man responsible for her death is in the country illegally. 21-year-old Jose Aguilar Martinez is accused of carjacking 54-year-old Melanie Waldecker outside the 7-Eleven at Town Center Plaza in Sterling, Virginia, and then running her over with her own vehicle, killing her. This happened in broad daylight around 11:30 a.m. Sunday morning.
Sheesh. What type of fucking shit here?
New disturbing details emerging from the court documents. The piece last week, February 24th, his mother reported him missing from this neighborhood. The next day, his body discovered 24 to 48 hours later, letting remains his hair discovered in a wooded area. Five suspects are being arrested. They were arrested Friday in connection to the death of 15-year-old Wilfred Lopez Nunez. Again, his body was later found in the Emerald State Park area. Court documents report a car near a stream bed close to a large rock. Franklin County Sheriff's Office says the suspects are all here in the United States legally. United says a launch caters against them.
B, that's all we need. Just give us the facts, my nigga. This is just giving me the facts, okay? Let me see here. Illegal immigration gangs taking over New York, taking over Venezuela, taking over Oregon. Okay. Dismembering little kids and leaving them in the park. This shit is real, man. This is not a game. And see, during the whole course of my life, people would always say, "Oh, Keenan, why are you so serious? 720, why are you so serious?" Because I'm not a soft, weak motherfucker like you. I'm finna stay on point at all times. Fuck that weak shit. Fuck that vulnerable shit. Fuck all of that. Fuck all of that. Because this shit is real. It's serious. But a lot of these fucking, movie Disney watching, fucking Pixar movie watching bitch ass niggas don't got a bone of seriousness up in them. You've been following the bitch and eating her fucking jello, and look at where the fucking thing got you, my nigga. Look at this shit. This nigga so goddamn retarded. He puts on his competitor's hat. This nigga put on the hat. I saw the whole clip earlier. Okay, the Haitian nigga. Let me see here. Let's put in some. Let me see here. Honduran illegal immigrants kill eagle. There we go. They're killing the bald eagles. Okay. Let me see here. Where's another one? Lord have mercy. Okay. Let's do one more before we go ahead and shut down. Immigrant, look at this. I just got immigrants up here. It says immigrants eating animals is the first one. Let's click on that. Let's see what we get up in here. This is crazy shit. Oh yeah, this is the most famous one that's going on right here.
What did you do? Did you eat that? And the cat. Stand up. Put your hands behind your back. Someone got rubber gloves. She's covered.
Not a good look, black woman. Not a good look.
Cover up.
She got blood all on her hand. It is the devil. You understand?
We'll just do everything. Don't get in the car yet. Wow. Go like this. Did you eat it? No, why'd you like get in there? Ridiculous.
She is the dark one.
Why'd you the cat? What did you do?
That's right. You over here nibbling on nibbles and bits, goddamn. Okay. Who cares if you're scared for your lives here in Springfield, Ohio? Take your ass back to motherfucking Haiti. They use machetes to mow the lawns. Ha ha ha. Okay, it is very much a very true. Oh yeah, this is the one. This is crazy right here.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun because I see what's going on in these streets and I see you guys just sitting up there in them puffy chairs and suits. Like I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this and you guys are just sitting up there in suits and stuff. Like I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into they flipping cars in the middle of the street. I don't know how like y'all can be comfortable with this. Like I don't know like who's getting paid from it. I feel like honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. They dropping. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTime me tonight. FaceTime me this morning at the welfare office that really need something, and it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to like seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like y'all get Highway State Patrol down here every week, and then y'all get like a task force for the Highway State Patrol, and they look for guns and they look for dope and this and that. And the forward. That same people that y'all got riding up and down Limestone doing U-turns, pulling people over for blinkers and pulling people over for like going left to center and like a couple miles over. Like y'all can take them people, the Highway State Patrol, and you can take them in every single one of they supercharged and Dodge Durangos, and y'all can take them to Sunset, and y'all can park them right over there, and y'all can teach people how to drive. Since the Highway State Patrol knows so much about traffic laws and know what to do in traffic.
Yeah, B, and that's a whole nother line to it. They're actually giving these motherfuckers driver's license and cars, and they don't even know how to drive, and they're just creating all types of melee and insanity on the traffic with all types of car accidents and shit. So, you know, yeah, they are eating the cats. They are eating the dogs. They are eating. Watch this. I could show you this video. Let me see what we're doing here. Let's see what we're gonna do this one. Haitians eating cats. Let's see what happens. I think they took down that one video from my feed. I mean, that would showed up on my feed. They probably didn't took it down, but it was actually in a video in Haiti showing these motherfuckers cooking the goddamn cat, skinning it, and the whole shit, the whole process. You know what I'm saying? So, what is that? Cat meat, $45 per pound. Absurd, nigga. Look at this shit. You know, but you better watch yourself. You better watch what's going on. Let's get back to it, man. You know, watch this shit, man. It's a very serious. Yeah, like the homie said right here, they don't even use signal lights in most of the third world countries. They don't. It's a very ugly picture. So, you know, keep this shit the fuck out of here, man. Y'all go ahead and get as many arms as possible and watch your back, man. Start being more serious about everything you do and what you encounter. You know what I'm saying? And we all need to be signing some type of petition or something to not pay this rent up in here. You understand? Because it's a lot of dumbass shit being promoted, and I'm not standing for it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go ahead and donate. We got to keep the money amongst us, you know, and don't be falling into don't let our money fall into the hands of these bums coming over here begging for American, you know, because we're not going to their land trying to fuck their country up, you know, and they're coming over here with the intention to fuck our shit up, as I have just proven, you know. Don't make me have to get a whole bunch of data to prove it even further, because I definitely can. I'm just briefing the situation right now. So y'all get the books. Kicked Out of Heaven. For $100, you get everything. You get the Kicked Out of Heaven, the Black Man's Bible, the Ethereal Law, and the Real Nigga Etiquette for $100. Just holler at me, thegod720@gmail.com. Let me put my shit right here. You know, and I'm also doing specials on millenniumdvds.com as well. Get yourself prepared. I do have videos. I do have DVDs on how to preserve foods, how to hunt, how to do all types of shit, you know. Um, so y'all look out, and I will see y'all on Monday. Have a safe weekend. We is out of here. Okay. Let me put this up in here. Anybody want to email me, go ahead. The information is right there. Like I said, hit the Cash App. I done brought you the real. And ain't nobody else finna give you the details like I do, because they're all worried about, you know, creating a bitch out of a nigga. That's what all these other motherfuckers be out here trying to do, is trying to create a worshiper. You know what I'm saying? I'm more focused on developing a team. I'm not focused on um, you know, having a worshiper, bro. I don't do human worship, you know. I don't do that shit. I don't expect you to do that shit, you know. And I've definitely seen situations where I make people nervous and people get all out of character and people don't know how to act around me or whatever the fuck they be doing, you know. And I see that type of nature around you. I'm just gonna, you know, discontinue all communication. But y'all keep your heads up, you know, keep your head on a swivel, you know. Go get your guns, you know, save your money, you know. And we all are waiting on this crazy ride. We don't know what's happening next on this roller coaster. So, you know, let me go ahead and get the fuck up out of here. And I appreciate everybody coming in today. You know, I hope you learned something about immigration and the reality to it. The reality to it is there's a bunch of beggars that want to be like us. They're very jealous of us, and at the same time, they're going to complain even though they can't develop or maintain the shit that we have. You know what I'm saying? So keep your monkey ass on your little island or wherever the fuck you came from. You know, I'm not, you know, they didn't catered a bunch of female mentality to the world, and y'all think y'all could just go out here and hug and kiss on everybody and all this other shit. Nigga, fuck that shit. I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know your intention. I don't know none of that. We not doing no hold no hands. I'm not gonna do none of that shit with your ass. You know, and please understand that for my fans too. All my close homies in my life right now were individuals who ran into me on YouTube videos. You dig what I'm saying? So don't be coming around me talking about, oh yeah, my screen name is in that. I'm like, nigga, I don't know you, nigga. You know, if you develop a relationship, and I gotta scan the motherfucker's brain, because motherfuckers don't be saying out here, like we just seen, man, motherfucker out here eating on the cat. God damn it. You understand? So shit, I'm gonna keep it real, man. Fuck all that dumb shit. You know, so we gonna do it like that. And let me go ahead and play 2 tracks and get the fuck up out of here, man. I love y'all. Love yourself. Love your families, man. Stay strong, man. I'm out this bitch. Peace.
has much Versace swagger. He 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 has much Versace swagger.
It's typical, they critical, cause my dollars is digital. Looking like a literal miracle, with a spiritual that's cynical. Crime never minimal, keep the shine on my mineral. A divine individual, and time is my centerfold. I hold her like rose gold, even though I can't expect that back. So I continuously stack with facts and never live in fiction. That fake it till you make it shit will have you niggas wishing. My salary reality, we ain't got the same vision. Marvin and a McLaren got the same name as my digits, and so do my shoes. Everything I say displayed on the news. From state to state I move, well respected cause I reflect the rules. Diamonds connect the dots, crystal balls on my jewels. Keep a judge in my pocket, won't be a case that I lose. Leave a handsome tip, my welcome's never abused. The police nod at me and then they let the guy move.
He has much Versace swagger. He has much Versace swagger. He has much Versace swagger. He has much Versace swagger.
Businessman, check your brands before we even shake hands. Hard hat for the plan, contract for the grands. Industries are money trees, so I caught me some land. Sacrifice for paradise, I hope the weak understands. Cause I live with no regrets and I will always collect and won't let you see me sweat the strategies of a vet. Casualties I expect, rules of engagement. When you frequent different places, read expressions of different faces and watch the movement of eyes. Never win from losing, nigga, this is spy versus spy. R.I.P. or P.I. Either do it or you don't, there ain't no attempt to try. First class above the clouds, keep your boy dragonfly. Stack high and comply, cause money's the only thing that guarantees family ties. 45, make me nervous, I don't like no surprise. Born to fully ride, keep them headless like Versace so I don't waste my time.
He has much Versace swagger. 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 He has much Versace swagger.
right, a nigga move right, not a bitch wanna fight. Soon as I hit the turnpike, she learned about the pipe, how I've earned stripes. Now she quiet like church mice, thinking about flight. All you had to do was chill, fuck lies, keep it real, control those emotions, cause the money don't feel. We can continue on the mission for a meal. The secrets of the alchemist are yet to be revealed. Niggas learn lessons cause the weapons they conceal. Everybody living on the edge cause of the thrill. We all dance in Wonderland, taking these pills. Reality only is once you gotta pay bills.